Good evening and welcome to Social Media Fridays on Monday, number 57. Each week we meet to discuss what happened last week in social media. We post items of interest on the Social Media Fridays community and then we come here to discuss them. With us this week we have Edwin Jonk, CEO of IDEStHost in the Netherlands. You can find Edwin on idesthost.nl. Masataki Wasa is a Google top contributor and webmaster of wasaweb.net. Michelle Deer is a social media dynamo, and she hails from Austin in Texas. All right, our first item of general business today is apparently there's a new videos tab in Page Insights.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I think I have some back feed there. Okay, it's gone. So because of all of the new videos and everything that's in Facebook, Facebook has decided for pages in the Page Insight area, they now have a videos tab. You used to be able to get only a video by video data. Now you can get aggregate information at the page level over all of your videos. You can get toggling by breakdown, and you can get views by date range. So you can put in a date range and look at number of views. Within those three items, there's some other nice features. So if you go and look at the article, it's straight from the Facebook Media blog, and you can read a little bit more about those three items and some additional features that you have available to you. So for the Page Insights, especially if you use videos, take a look at that.
And I think that's more important. You can also get the metrics from other pages if they shared your video. Let me quote, page owners will now be able to see views, reach, and other video metrics for videos they've shared from other pages. So that's nice. You're muted, Jim.
I was trying to make sure that I wasn't contributing to that echo and sending me to do two things at once. It's not a good plan. Facebook Messenger. Now in the US, Canada and Venezuela, people do not need a Facebook account to be on Facebook Messenger. Download and sign up with your name and phone number.
Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. Facebook looks like it's trying to decouple itself from Messenger to make it easier for people to contact each other. So in those three countries, you can now sign up and use Messenger without having to have a Facebook account. So take that for what it's worth, and there you go.
Okay, and anybody else on this one? Okay, I think this might end up being the shortest hangout on record. Facebook now lets you add links to on its mobile app without opening a browser.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, I always say a few weeks ago, it may have been a month ago, and sorry, I'm not sure if that feedback is me or not, and I do apologize for that. We talked about Facebook having a search feature for specific news information that they deem interesting within Facebook that you can search for that you might want to link to in your posts. And it may not include all of the information that you would find on Google or whatever you choose to search, whatever your search engine is. And it would preclude the need to switch back and forth between your search engine and Facebook. This is what this article is talking about. They've rolled it out. So now you don't have to toggle back and forth. If you use it, just be aware that you may not find the article that you wanted to link to that you might have found in your search engine. So, you know, we don't know how they're sourcing their information, if it's, you know, so it might not all be there. But you do have that option available to you now to not have to switch back and forth to find the links that you want to share. So it's the article explains a little bit more. It's you can't even see me point. I hate to always do that where like people can actually see what I'm doing. But it's up near the top, and you can do a quick search on just some general information like you would in your browser. Find a link of your choice and share it directly in your post. Write your information like you normally would and post your comment.
Okay. Anybody else on this one? And Facebook can even ID you in photos where your face isn't showing. Now that's really scary to me. That they can ID you when they see the back of your head.
Yeah, I'm going to preface this with I'm going to preface this with some information. Originally, this is back a while, Facebook acquired Face.com, and what they do is they rolled it into a research project, basically stating we're not going to use this for nefarious purposes or whatever. It's just a research project, to see what we can do, blah, blah, blah. And this is the output from that. So let me pop over to my notes so that I accurately describe what's going on here. So through this research project, and it was funded after purchasing Face.com, they released this system, and they recognize a person, without using his or her face. And what they're using is things like hair, personal style, basically like how you sit, how you move, that kind of thing, body shape. So these researchers went to the Computer Vision and Pattern Recognition Conference in Boston earlier this month, and I think there was another group that released their finding as well. So with 83% accuracy, they were able to determine people's identity based upon using these kinds of features. And it basically just goes back to, they keep saying, okay, this was a research endeavor, look what we've done. I have no idea what they plan to use it for. None of that information has been conveyed. It was just researched, and they showed the practical application, so it wasn't just a research paper that they released. So basically that's fundamentally what they did. I'm certain that most of us, or many of us, were like, okay, great, what are they going to do with this? Because it is a little bit freaky and creepy. But just wanted to point out that it came from a research project. It was only 83% accuracy.
Well, it is quite impressive. I saw a couple of pictures where people were having Oculus Rift on. So that covers almost the whole face, right? And Facebook still recognized it. What they're going to do with this is they embedded it in the Moments app. So that's basically a photo sharing app for your friends and family. And that's the only instance where they are going to use this. So this will, as far as I understand, not be a public feature where you can tag people in Facebook. So it's only going out to the Moments app, which is pretty private if you consider Facebook. If you consider that Facebook is keeping their promise. But it is impressive. It's really impressive.
Edwin, is Moments the one where, I know we talked about it and I'm just trying to recall, is that the one where you can now share photos with other people so that you don't have to have multiples of photos and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me get the quote.
You have a link right there in the, okay.
Yeah. It also says in the article, Moments uses facial recognition technology to group your photos based on the friends who are in them. It's a little bit similar to Google Photos. If Google knows a particular person, or you've tagged that particular person, you can search on Google Photos.
Yeah, there is a huge privacy issue, to the extent that people may not wish to be identified in any way. And obviously, so it has to be an opt-in system. So you have to be able to say, okay, I'm happy to be identified from, I'm not talking just about Facebook or Google+, I'm talking generally about identifying people on photographs online. So you have to, it has to be an opt-in system where people would say, I am happy to be identified, that my likeness is identified with who I am. So it's going to be tricky how it works with tagging people, sharing within private spheres, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be interesting how people are going to react to it, and what the potential fallout from this kind of service is in terms of privacy.
I was thinking that they might just go off the tagging, but yeah, you're right. It's got to be something a little more complex than that.
Yeah, the thing is, it can't be opt-out, because in order to opt-out, you have to opt-in and then opt-out. So it has to be an opt-in system that the people have to make very clear that they're happy to be tagged, identified, and even privately, people might think, okay, I don't like to be identified outside the very small circle of people that I know in the real world, for example. That's, I think, a totally legitimate wish. So you can just have one setting for all situations. You can say, oh, just because it's private, we are going to allow this to take place. It has to be on individual basis and respecting that individual person's desire and, if you like, right for privacy.
Yeah. I hope that they make it easy. You know how privacy ends up being very complex for certain demographics, people who aren't that technical. I hope that they are able to make it easy to follow for individuals that are not technically inclined, because we had issues in the past with that. And they end up calling their kids going, please help me with this.
No, I think there's always an issue, isn't there? Because there are two extreme positions. One would say, I'm happy, I don't mind being there, out there, myself, my likeness, my photographs being identified. I have absolutely no problems with that. Great. So that's sort of one side of the argument. So from that perspective, anyone who wishes to restrict that is sort of, not playing the game, as it were. Whereas the other extreme is people saying, I don't want to be identified at all, under any circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a very difficult balancing act for services to strike, because you have to make sure that not only you conform to the legal regulatory requirements, but you want to make sure that your users are happy.
Well, and then what do you do when the NSA or the government makes those requests for data, and then you include that kind of stuff off a picture?
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of issue, isn't it? So we can talk about hypotheticals. For example, let's say there is a repressive regime, and there is an underground demonstration, and the authorities are after the demonstrators. And if they are identified through tagging or automatic recognition, that's not really good.
No.
Well, I think there's with Google Photos, it's even a bigger issue, because because of copyright issues, there are places that you cannot copygraph or are copyrightable, or for some weird reason the government decided that you cannot make a photo there in public. You can get fined for it or whatever. So the government could potentially ask Google Photos to share that particular data, and they can fine people all over the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's that issue, and there are, of course, things like rights that people, copyright and intellectual property rights that people still have. And I only became aware of this recently, in that in certain countries, buildings, architectural materials.
Yeah, I think the Eiffel Tower at night, when the lights are on, the Eiffel Tower itself, you can photograph it, but at night, when the lights are on, that is still copyrightable. There's also a tree in California on a golf course where people say, or that at least the owner says, it is the view is copyrighted by him. There are so many weird stories.
And it's same with the Atomium in Brussels.
Yeah.
According to Belgian law, it's protected. So if you go to the Wikipedia in Belgium, it becomes a silhouette. You can recognize the shape, but it's not a photograph of the building. So there are different local laws, and then obviously it's very difficult to enforce it. I mean, there's a legal, theoretical possibility that they can go after each individual occurrence where people are breaching copyright or violating someone else's copyright, but it's not really going to happen. But those are the kinds of issues that may come into when these kinds of services are widespread, because different countries have different thresholds and different interpretations of what kind of privacy is protected by the law, and it's a nightmare. There's no single definition of what is privacy, both in legal terms and how we understand, if you like, societally. But also, it differs from one place to another. It differs from one culture to another. It differs from one society to another, and there may be generational differences, and so on and so forth. So, it's a minefield for any service to go and sort of proactively identify people. So my guess is that all these things will have to be extremely conservative, in the sense that they will have to seek explicit permission from the person in order to identify that person in any way. Because if you go beyond that, then it becomes problematic.
And going back to the moments from Facebook, I think actually Facebook can be much better than the Google Photos, because they already have the data from your friends and family, right? So they can potentially they should know better who is on the picture. On the Facebook article, they give an example. Let me quote: "When you go to a wedding, for example, there are many people taking great photos throughout the day. You all want a quick way to share your photos with the friends who are in them, and get photos that you're in back. The same is true for smaller events, like a kayak trip or night out. I saw an example with Google Photos. Somebody took a picture on Wimbledon when Agassi was playing, so that was quite a while back. And Google Plus suggested that that was his friend, Agassi. And Google also recognized a lot of people in the audience as being friends.
Yeah, so that's a scary thing, isn't it? Because in a sense, whether you're officially tagged or officially recognized doesn't matter. The fact is that these services are doing it already. They know, they have the capability. The fact that they have this capability alone could alarm certain people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think Facebook can be much better because they only have to they only give you the friends, right? They don't give you the whole audience, like in that example, which can be much better for the users basically, because they don't care who's in the audience or who's somewhere in the background. They care about who is in the picture that they know. If they don't know someone, they don't care about that. So that's a really nice feature of Moments, and I think that can be quite a powerful feature for Facebook.
Yep. Well, that's a fascinating discussion, guys. Edwin, how does this all work with Blue Smurfs? Is it legitimate to conceal your identity as a Smurf?
Well, they are quite small, no? So.
Yes, there's a big mushroom behind me.
All right, I see Meher Bhagat has joined us from India, and it's New Delhi. It's not Chandigarh, it's New Delhi. Meher is a human resources manager and a social media dynamo from New Delhi in India. I did get it right, didn't I?
Yes, you did get this done right.
Okay, so our last item today, Instagram has announced 2 updates.
Yes, let me pull up my notes here. Okay, so Instagram has done 2 things. The first one is kind of interesting. They've created an Explore page, or rather they've updated it with some real-time features. It has trending tags and places, and it's all real-time. What they're going to do is they're going to surface trends both near you and globally. It includes curated collections. So you'll be able to go out and look at this page and see what's going on in real time. Click on the curated collections, take a look at what's going on. You'll be able to look by tagging. You can go in and look, or the other thing that you'll be able to do is right now you can look by hashtag and by people. They're also going to include places. So if you're going to go to Hawaii on a trip or something, you can search on Hawaii now and see what's all out there on Hawaii. Or if you're interested in what's going on, maybe there's a natural disaster or something going on in a particular place, you can search on that and see who's putting out posts on that. So those are the 2 things. You've got the Explore page and the new search on places. It's going to roll out in the U.S. And as they tweak it out a little bit, they're going to roll it out elsewhere, as per usual with new features in social media, unfortunately. And that's on the Instagram blog. So if you click on the article, you can go directly to the Instagram blog and read about it.
Okay. So, guys, before I close up shop for the night, what's happening in your world this week?
Well, for me, it's work, and more work.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yes, yes.
Well, Masataki, I got another reply, a second one, did I? I'll have to go and have a look. Oh, I see. I see. Well, look, I think that probably deserves comment. Jonathan Zunger spoke or made a post today on Google Plus, and he repeated a post that he made. It must have just been when Google switched from being in beta to becoming open to the public, I think. It's around about the 29th of June. I reckon that'll be about right. So, yeah, I guess I should modify my dire prediction of the end of Google+. Maybe I was premature. But I was still right about Allo. I still beat Edwin and Masataki on that bet. And Mark Trepagan.
How many users are there for Allo.co?
Allo.co, let's have a look, we'll see. Allo.co. And this is, of course, not active users, because it's every person that actually has a profile which would be picked up by Googlebot and displayed, and it's now showing 4 million results. That's probably more than it ever was, isn't it? Maybe it's growing, guys.
Maybe.
Hmm.
And what were our predictions?
Well, I think from memory, I think Masataki was. I'm not sure if it was Masataki or Edwin with the higher, but I think you were both around about the 10 million, 9 million mark. Were you not?
Yeah, I think I was probably the highest, if I'm not wrong.
And I think I said 4,090,000.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yes. Rings a bell.
Okay. Well, look, we still have people watching us. Oh no, we don't. They just jumped off. Look, if nobody else has anything to add, I'll just leave a pause here for someone to jump in. No? Okay. Well, look, if you're watching this at some time in the future, because I know nobody's watching us right at this very minute, we thank you. We thank you very much for the interest, taking the interest in what we do, and we appreciate that very much. We'll be back at the same time next week to do it